Stopping the run was the big emphasis coming into this week. You know, Atlanta was a good team at running the ball, and we knew they was going to run the ball, 70% of the time. And the fact that we was able to stop the run, the whole game shows a lot about us. Up front, they set the tone early. Our linebackers shooting the gaps, and the deep end DBs, when they passed the ball, we was able to stop it. So.
What's going on, everybody? Week 3 in the books, and let me tell you, these videos are so much more fun to make after a Lions victory. The Lions took it to the Atlanta Falcons at home in Ford Field. 20-6 was the final, and this was a great performance from the defense. I feel like after some criticism, they responded. They got up to the task. They kept that Atlanta offense in check, especially that run game. They're only held to 44 total rushing yards. There was a lot of hype around Bijan and what he was able to do after that performance that he had the previous week against Green Bay, but our defense responded, especially the run game, and our secondary played pretty well in addition to that. And let's not forget 7 sacks on the day from 6 different players. It was coming from the linebackers, it was coming from our DNs, coming from our D tackles. Everyone took part in getting after Desmond Ridder. Super happy to see that. I think that's a great way to respond after a game where you didn't have any sacks. Gino was able to get away from you, and there was a lot of criticism of you going up against pretty much a backup offensive line. Super happy for those guys up front. I think they did a phenomenal job. One, of keeping everything in front of them. Bijan wasn't able to get away and have himself a day. And also Desmond Ridder wasn't able to get them over the top with a lot of downfield passes. So I'm really excited to see, how this defense can stack up as we go into further and further and further into the season, especially this Thursday night as we go into Green Bay. It's going to be a huge game. Under the lights, we go back to Lambeau, where last year we stole one from the Green Bay Packers, kicked him out of the playoffs, said sayonara to Aaron Rodgers. It was a great game. They're going to want that revenge. The stakes are high because this is going to be for first place now of the NFC North. Whoever comes out on top on Thursday is going to have the head-to-head lead and also a game lead in the North as well. So massive game on Thursday night. I'm super pumped. It's kind of creeping up really quick too. We're not used to these Thursday night games and being in the spotlight. So it's going to happen really quick this week, which is great. Super excited about that one. I'm really hoping that our boys come out on top on Thursday evening. Before we jump into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Also, throw some comments down below of how you felt this game went. I'd love to hear your guys' input. I love conversing with everyone in the chat. So leave a comment down below. Let's get into 5 things that we learned this week against the Atlanta Falcons. First thing is our rookies showed up today. The first 4 players that we took in those 2 rounds of this year's NFL draft had themselves a day. Sam Laporta went off. Jahmyr Gibbs had a solid outing being the workhorse back. Brian Branch had himself a day. He was an impact player through all 4 quarters, really showed up and slowly starting to stack those games up. He's getting better and better and better. The way he's able to read and react, I think he's getting so much quicker with how he processes the game now, to where we're seeing him shooting the backfield, getting those tackles for losses, breaking up passes, almost having an interception. This kid was all over, and the PFF score reflects that. He had a monster day, and he made a name for himself against the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, he did have that pick 6 against Kansas City in week 1, but man, I feel like this was a very complete game from him, and the way he was able to show out, it just has us super excited for the future. So sorry, Packers fans. Sorry, Tom Grassi. Thanks for trading us that pick. Hopefully we got a stud that can continue to stack games, but I'm super pumped on what Brian Branch showed against the Atlanta Falcons. Next up, Sam Laporta, already producing at a high level in the NFL. If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the highest graded tight ends so far this year in terms of the number of catches that he has, the number of yards that he's producing, and I even think he's ahead of TJ Hawkinson. So 4D chess again by Brad Holmes, able to go out there, make a trade, get Laporta, trade away TJ Hawkinson last year when everyone said we were crazy. This man had a vision. Brad Holmes knew what he was doing, and Sam Laporta got his first touchdown pass, made a statement. Phenomenal game from him. Jack Campbell, not as loud as the other 2, but he did have a sack to end the half, which was awesome. You love to see it. And then he goes sprinting into the locker room to end the half, and also threw a couple tackles in there as well. I still feel like his game has continued to grow and grow and grow, but they did put him on the edge as well, which is kind of curious. So I'm wondering if they just want to see more of that, see what he can do on the edge, see if he can get after the passer in addition to his roles in stopping the run and also going back into coverage. Make him as multifaceted as you possibly can. In addition, Jahmyr Gibbs, he won the running back battle of round one from the 2023 draft. He had a better day than Bijan Robinson. And not that it's an apples to apples comparison, because I feel like both of those guys have different games, but he answered when the Detroit Lions leaned upon him. We knew that David Montgomery was out. Craig Reynolds is kind of slow. He's not really an impact running back. And then we have Zonovan Knight, too, who just brought up from the practice squad. So you're not really knowing what to expect from him. But Jahmyr Gibbs started to get going, started to get those legs underneath him. And once he did, he was able to close out that fourth quarter against the Atlanta Falcons and started to put together some impact runs. Even Dan Campbell in this highlight clip right now said a couple of solid things about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs did some good things, you know. Look, that D-line, that's a good D-line. Look, I thought as that game went on, particularly there late, Gibbs started going. You know, he started to find a little bit of his rhythm. And I think that's a good thing. And that's kind of what I felt about. He just needs, when the light really comes on, it's going to come on. And I could feel there towards the end, there's a couple of those runs, his back-to-back runs, where you feel like, all right, here he goes. He's starting to feel this a little bit. So and he'll only get better with time and with reps.
Thing number two that I know is our run defense is legit. Even going back to last year, take out that Carolina game where we were playing essentially on concrete with a little bit of grass sprinkled in. Our defense has been able to stop the run. It's been a primary focus, and they were finally able to do it while protecting the back end against the pass as well. And I'm not going to tell you that Desmond Ridder is a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Justin Herbert. He's not an elite quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. But taking away the run game from the Atlanta Falcons shut down their entire offensive game plan. Not selling out, but stopping Algier and Bijan Robinson before they could get going. It was massive for this defense. So when the Atlanta Falcons were trying to play catch up and try to get back in the game, our defense was able to pin its ears back and get after the quarterback. They earned the right to rush the passer, and damn did they go after it. 7 sacks on the day is awesome. It's huge. It's such a bounce back. It has me super pumped for Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers and what we can do there. So if we can replicate that success, we're on to something here. We might have ourselves a defense this year, which is so awesome to see. I'm finally happy going back to 2014 where we had that elite defense. I'm not saying that these guys are elite just yet, but we're starting to trend towards that direction. Let's start stacking some W's on the defensive side of the ball, and this team will be so much better. We can tell that when we play tough defense, stop the run, keep the team in front of us, we're able to stack wins. And when we get a turnover, we can start stacking more wins. So I'm super pumped about this defense. I think they have all the skill in the world. Well, now it's just a matter of executing at a high level week to week. So hopefully this isn't a peak. Hopefully this is where we're expected to be, and this is where we keep things moving forward. The third thing I know is our offensive line needs to get healthy. Having Decker out really hurts this team. Moving Penei Sewell from the right side to the left side. Didn't have a great game again. Matt Nelson going down. Dan Skipper going down like 10 plays thereafter. And then Colby Sorsdale coming in as a 5th-round rookie. It was tough. It was a very tough day on the offensive line. I feel like those guys did as best as they could. And kudos to Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, and even Graham Glasgow. I feel like the interior of the offensive line played pretty well. It was just those outside tackles that really struggled. So hopefully, if we can get Taylor Decker back for Thursday, now we have Decker and Sewell on the outside, and the only replacement piece is going to be Graham Glasgow, who is pretty serviceable in his own right. So getting Decker back is going to be huge for this week. It sounds like he's trending towards playing. It sounded like he could have gone on Sunday, but he probably wouldn't have been available on Thursday. So Dan Campbell and the team made the decision, hey, sit out one more game. We're going to bring you back. That way you're as close to healthy as possible as we go into Lambeau. But we noticed, too, that the more pressure that Jared Goff went under, the harder it was for him to perform. In that third quarter, he was starting to get happy feet. When he's under pressure, he starts to make mistakes. That's when he threw the interception. He started throwing some errant footballs. But once we started settling into the fourth quarter, could lean on that run game and just a little bit more, that's when we started producing. So hopefully this offensive line, we don't have to worry about it moving forward. We get a couple pieces back, and at least have a little bit of stability as we head into Lambeau, because that's going to be a huge piece. because don't sleep on the Packers defense. They have a very solid defense, especially in that front four with Van Ness. Rashawn Gary is on that front four as well. So they have some pieces up there that can, really wreak havoc. But if we have our offensive line to, we'll call it 90% strength, I'd be super happy heading into Lambeau. Thing number 4 that we learned, Dan Campbell called a great game. He was decisive. He made the right calls when he had to. He wasn't overly aggressive, and he trusted his defense. There was a couple times where we were at midfield. We crossed into maybe the 45-yard line. And instead of going for it on 4th down, we punted the ball away. That just says that we have faith in our defense to stop the Falcons' offense, and we're going to say, hey, we're going to give the ball to you, but you're going to have to go down the whole damn field to get points. We're not going to give anything up. And that's a far cry from what Dan has done in the past. We've seen before where he's been overly aggressive for no good reason, and I feel like he was pretty balanced in this game. I will comment and say that I think the challenge flag was thrown pretty prematurely on the Tracy Walker almost interception, but you want to catch that just in case the refs got it wrong as Atlanta was rushing to the line to call their next play. Other than that, though, AG called a fantastic game on defense. And Ben Johnson was really good on the offensive side of the ball as well. So that was a very complete game, in my opinion, from the coaching staff. I feel like they were very prepared. They were ready to go. And I'm hoping that they carry that momentum into Lambeau for this Thursday night. It's going to be a huge game. It's going to be a must-win almost for the division. Get that early lead and don't let up. So keep your pedal on the gas. Keep it going. And hopefully, as we go into Thursday, we can replicate our success from Sunday. The 5th and final thing that I have learned from this game is it's going to be the Packers and the Lions for the division. As it stands right now, even though Minnesota's playing really good ball, according to PFF and the analytics, they can't close out. And this is karma coming back for them for winning like 12 games in the one-score games last year and being 12-5. Just a ridiculous stat line. But this is them this year not being able to replicate that success, losing pieces, losing a running back. So Minnesota is 0-3. The Chicago Bears are 0-3. They're in a free fall themselves. So it really comes down to the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions for the division. This game on Thursday night is huge. It should draw a huge national audience. Both teams are 2-1, coming off wins. In the case of the Green Bay Packers, coming back from 17-0 to win in Lambeau in Jordan Love's first home start. So they're going to be riding a high coming into town. They're going to want to get revenge against us for last year for kicking them out of the playoffs. It's going to be a great game, but it's going to set the tone early for who the division is for this year. If we're able to go in Lambeau, set the tone, say, hey, I don't care about you, it's us or nobody, we're going to be all right. So I'm super pumped. I think this game is going to be massive. It's going to be huge to give us that leg up in the division early on in the first quarter of the season. The hype will be real for this year. Starting 3-1 is huge, especially as we start thinking about very early on playoff positioning, getting those wins early so we can start separating ourselves from the pack. Because the NFC, yeah, there's a couple talented teams, but it's very mid to very bottom level. The Seahawks beat us, and they're a pretty solid, decent team. The Cowboys are out there, the Eagles are out there, and of course the San Francisco 49ers are out there just whooping ass up and down the field. So there's a couple teams at the top there, but that gives us an opportunity of, if it was going to be a year for us to step up, it's a pretty good year to step up. But it starts on Thursday. It starts in Lambeau on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime in front of a national audience. We have to go out there and set the tone. Show everybody after week 1 that we're still for real, that we're still the team to beat in the division, and we'll be okay. Establish dominance, stop the run, and put Jordan Love in tough positions. If we're able to do that, I think we'll be A-okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to me. It helps grow this channel, get it out to other Lions fans out there, and even throws it out to the division rivals as well, which I love when I get trash talk in the comments. I love seeing the haters hate. So don't forget to share it, like it, subscribe it, and we'll see you next week.